Bam! What's up, my YouTube fam? Got the Purvis Primordial MK2 here, courtesy of Bama Knife Wife. Day late Christmas present. Wonderful, wonderful knife. This is my 2019 most carried knives video. This one didn't make the cut only because I got it on the 26th of December. But I guarantee you it will probably be at the top of the list in 2020. Recent acquisition as well. I just got another Purvis, the Xerx blacked out version. I believe it is 20 CV. It is, and this one looks like it says 196 of 240. Very nice knife. I love the weight, love the long blade. Nice grind on it, thin behind the edge. Really, really nice knife. Same with this one. I just acquired it a couple days ago, so it is not on the list for 2019, but it has seen some pocket time recently, and I'm really enjoying that one. So without further ado, we'll jump in here into the most carried knives of 2019. There are a few knives that are not on the counter here that I do carry, but they were just not carried enough to where I felt that it justified including them in the mix. Before we jump in real quick, nice slicers, Shadowborn Hanks, Mr. JD Shadow, Carlos EDC, Women Carry Knives, Big Red EDC, Long Island Knife Guy, Geared Toward Gear, A Therapeutic Edge, Blade Brigade, Big Bore Knife and Gear, which is one of my best friends, Scott Big Bore Williams, Mr. Steven, Patty's Potato Peelers, Tom Hosang Outdoors, Gerald at Outpost 76, Alex with Alex's Knife Box, Steve, Super Steel Steve, Chef Kalari, BJ Hill with Hilltop Knives and Gear. All of these guys are friends of mine, guys and gals. Neves Knives, obviously you probably know who they are. Alchemy One. All of these people are really good friends of mine, and I have a giveaway going on Instagram right now for my 1,000 followers on Instagram, and 90% of the people I just named were so unbelievably awesome to contribute. They threw in a lot of gear and swag and things like that for the giveaway, and some of them even included awesome freaking knives for the giveaway, like Mr. Blade Banker, Mr. Ben Blade Banker. He is an awesome dude. If you don't follow Blade Banker, please go do that. This dude probably does 26 giveaways every 4 minutes. I mean, he is just an awesome, good-hearted guy, and just somebody that you would definitely enjoy his content. He's always got something, coming out, and just a really good dude. I've made friends with him. He's a great guy, and I'm happy to call him one of my friends. So please go follow those people if you don't already. I'm sure you probably do, but let's jump into it. So first and foremost, the knives on this table all have been carried at least what I would consider to be a good bit during the year of 2019. The two that got the least amount of pocket time in that mix were Technos, Techno 1 and Techno 2. I love these knives. They are, short little stubby guys. I think a lot of people call them little big knives. I mean, you can see the blade thickness on this. How about that lovely mashed finger? You can see the blade thickness. It's really super thick, man. I love this knife. This is the S30V version. It was supposed to be CTS XHP. Apparently there was an oops mix-up at the factory. They made them in S30V, so this one's kind of a not so common one that you find. Most of them are XHP, but out of the two Technos, I love the Techno 1 the most. Deep carry clip, 2 slabs of titanium, nice pop of blue on the back spacer there. Nice thick S30V blade, and surprisingly enough, still decent behind the edge, not insanely thick. It's got a nice full flat grind on it. I really like this knife. Same can be said about the Techno 2 with just a slightly less thick blade stock, hollow grind, beautiful knife. It's got this little pop of green on the barrel spacers there. Really like it. Same deep carry wire clip. I think everyone likes the wire clip. It's just such a functional, simple design. Just does a really good job. But I do like these a lot. They just, out of all of them, saw the least pocket time. Moving right along, the Kershaw Knockout. This is not the USA made blades version, the blue M390 in black. I love that one. I want one so bad, but unfortunately I do not have one. This one was I got this one from Vinny Nero. over at Nero Knives. I always forget to include Vinny too. If you don't follow Nero Knives, please go do so. Vinny Nero's a great dude. He went to Blade Show with me and Super Steel Steve and Mr. Corey Glasser, and just had a great time. Vinny's a super nice guy, very, very knowledgeable, super intelligent dude. When it comes to knives and ergonomics and the use of knives and how they apply in your daily life, there's very few people out there that break it down the way that Vinny does. He does it in a very educational way and applies it to things that actually make sense and actually matter. And so I would highly suggest you go follow Nero Knives and take a look at some of his content. Super, super smart guy. Funny dude too. I like him a lot. Super cool. Yeah, so the Kershaw Knockout, I'm not a fan of assisted knives generally. Jared and Kara, just the Neves, they just made a comment on this the other day about how they're not a fan of assisted knives either, but out of all of them, out of all the assisteds they've owned, this one is the only one that they really like, and I'm on the same boat with that. I don't know what it is. I don't know what makes this knife different from other assisted knives to where it's something I can overlook and be okay with, but it's just a fantastic knife. I mean, it functions exactly like an assisted knife should. I mean, it's got the assisted spring. I mean, it's something that most people are turned off by once they get into the knife game pretty deep. But for some reason, this is one that kind of hangs around and people tend to like, and I'm on that train as well. Really like this knife. Just doesn't see a ton of pocket time. Moving right along, Factor Equipment Iconic. This one is branded with the Bama knife guy name there. Love this knife. Gerald at Outpost 76 kind of turned me on to this. He's owned a few and he absolutely loves them, and they are great. Nice full flat grind, super thin behind the edge. I mean, just a nice knife. It's my only complaint really with it really is the pocket clip. It's just kind of a stamped out kind of spring steel. You know, just I feel like they could have done a little better with that. I feel like it, you know, and ergonomically it's fine. It doesn't get in the way. It doesn't hurt your hand. It's, you know, no hot spots or anything. I just feel like it doesn't look all that great. And maybe it's just because I'm picky when it comes to certain little things, but this is one that I really like. It is a wonderful slicer, great action, super fidgety, just a all-around good knife. I love it a lot. I just do not carry it a ton, even though I probably should, since I branded it with my channel name, which I think is cool. I like to be able to show people that. But anyway, yeah, so Factor Equipment Iconic. Oh, and that is S35VN as well on that blade steel. Nice and thin. I mean, just a really nice slicer. Good size too. It's a nice sized knife. Yeah, so moving along. Alright, so next up is something that was gifted to me that I do carry quite a bit, but I like traditionals, but it's something that I don't carry a lot. I carry this knife probably once every 2 weeks or so, drop it in the left-hand pocket. This was a gift from Patty, from Steve and Patty's Potato Peelers over there in Ireland, and this thing is awesome. It's a Michael May custom traditional. Look at that. I mean, it's just the grind that they did on this, on the back spring here, and it carries up into the back of the spine of the blade. If I can get it to focus, just beautiful, beautiful work. I absolutely love this knife. Anytime I do carry it and I pull it out, I always get comments on it. It's a Warncliffe, you know, straight blade. It takes a wonderful edge. I do not know what type of steel was used in it. I can tell you it takes a fantastic edge. It holds it, you know, reasonably long. I love the wood handles. I also love the fact that it came with some scars on it where Steven had used it. And just, man, I really like this. And I think one of the reasons I don't carry it much is because I drop it in my pocket and it has no pocket clip, and I'm very afraid I'm going to lose it. And I really, really like this knife a lot, and I really want to take good care of it and one day gift it back to Steven is my goal. So absolutely love it. Thanks again, Patty, if you're watching this, man. I really cherish this knife a lot. And for that reason, it doesn't see a ton of pocket time, because I'm always nervous without a pocket clip that something's going to happen and I'm going to lose it. All right, so next up, is the only reason this one did not get carried a ton in 2019 is because I didn't have it long enough. It was actually not this particular knife. I got this one toward the end of 2019, but I did have a black one. No, I'm sorry, a tan one, and then I also had the Neves bug out as well. And between those two that were loaners, I carried it quite a bit. But because they were not mine, I didn't carry it a ton. Since I've gotten this one at the end of December, I've carried the crap out of it. This thing is an absolute feather. It almost weighs nothing. It's the Benchmade Bugout. For those of you that do not know, S30V, super insanely lightweight. It's got the blue thumb studs, which look so cool. It's got that nice short deep carry clip. I mean, it almost weighs nothing. It's got the axis lock, which is so fidgety and fun. I really love the axis lock. If I can get it to flip, this one's still tight. It's almost new. Love this knife. Just didn't get a ton of pocket time in 2019 because it did not belong to me. This one now does, and so I can definitely foresee a lot of carry time in 2020, especially as a left-hand carry backup knife for me. Love it. Very nice. If you don't own a Benchmade Bugout, I would say definitely dive in. They're cheap. I think you can find them online sometimes with sales around $100. Definitely worth the money. All right. So next up would probably be the Spyderco Smock. I love it. It's a fidgety knife. I did own two besides this one. This one was bought this one directly from Eric Glesser at Blade Show 2019, so it didn't come with a box or anything like that. But my last two smocks that I had, whatever this hand rubbed deal that they did on this blade is, I don't know what's up with this finish, but it scratches so freaking easy. And I have bought this knife 3 times for a reason, and that is because I'm kind of on the fence about it. I love the way it looks. It's such a neat knife. I always get, comments about it. It's fun, it's fidgety. But there's just the ergonomics of the handle for me with big hands suck. Steve will tell you it looks like a freaking turd from South Park, a cartoon turd or whatever, and he's kind of right. You can't go forward because that's not designed to be a finger tool. It's a cutout for the push button compression lock there, and it's just, if you go forward, you really you end up spreading out. If you come all the way back, it feels like the blade is too far from your hand. If you come even further back, it's even further away. It just doesn't fit my hand quite right. It's a front flipper, S30V. It's got the carbon fiber. I mean, it's a cool knife, but for some reason, I just can't. I don't know. And so I haven't carried this one a ton in 2019 for the reason that I was trying to keep it somewhat unscratched and unscathed so that if I decided to sell it again, I could and would feel okay about it without it being super tore up. So this one may be going bye-bye here pretty soon. I'm pretty confident about that. But yeah, so that's my next least carried. It does see pocket time, but just not a ton. All right, so next up is another gift knife. This one was from Super Steel Steve. This is my Cold Steel Code 4. This one is in CTS XHP, and it is an awesome knife, and it looks like I don't carry it much, but I definitely do. This one, at least 2 to 3 times every 2 weeks, ends up in the pocket. It's insanely thin knife. The handles are just crazy thin. I believe they're aluminum. It carries fairly deep. Just a wonderful, wonderful knife. I absolutely love it. It's something that I'm in love with. I mean, it's just a great knife. And just like with all of my other knives that are gifts, usually I'm kind of hesitant to carry them a ton because I kind of want to take good care of them. But with this one, it seems to see a pretty good bit of pocket time. And these next 3 are, they're all right there together. They're all in the running. They all get carried probably once to twice a week. I'm one of the kind of guy that switches my knife out every day and carries something different every day, and this is one that makes it in my pocket at least once a week, sometimes twice. It's definitely in my permanent rotation, and I love this. Super Steel Steve gifted me this for my birthday. He knew I had wanted one, and he went and found me one. It's discontinued. Love it. Thank you again, Steve. All right, next up is the K2. The Spyderco K2. This was a gift from my buddy Acuminous Edge, Mark. And you can see it's got quite the patina going on because I've carried the crap out of this thing. right along there. I can't remember what caused that patina. I did something goofy with it and then didn't clean it off like I normally do, and it kind of darkened it. And so I'm gonna try to do the same thing to the rest of it and just go ahead and darken it on up. You can tell it's kind of dirty. I actually carried this knife today, but this one was a gift as well. I love this knife. I carry it at least one day a week, and one of my buddies, Dave Bach, has one of these and loves it. And me and him both are big knife guys. We love a big knife. I love that upswept blade. Big giant slabs of titanium. It is tipped down, which is a killer for some people. And a lot of people complain about the lock stick on these, but I worked my magic on it like I do any knife that has lock stick, and got rid of it, and now it is absolutely wonderful. There is no blade play any direction, up, down, side to side. I like how they crowned the spine right back here at the top. Just a great knife. And like I said, a lot of people complain about the lock stick, but as you can see, mine has none of it. It's great. If you have a K2 and you have a lot of lock stick and you need some help with that, DM me or hit me up on Instagram or whatever, and I can either do it for you, or I can tell you how to do it super easy. So Spyderco K2, this is 10V steel. Absolutely love it. It was a gift from Mark, Humanist Edge. Great knife. Carry it, you know, at least as much as I do the Cold Steel K4. All right, next up is a knife that I got at Blade Show 2019 that I absolutely love. I bought this directly from Dave Warren. It is a micarta 2U knife, Cebu, Warncliffe blade. Wonderful knife. Love it, love it, love it. Dropped it. At least I've got a Oliver's dog bed laying here below me. Luckily he's not in it. But yeah, so love this knife. It is fairly thick blade stock. No blade play at all, super solid, and it drops very nice. Great action. I love the blue anodized hardware, pivot collar, clip, screws, backspacer, all has that anodization. Just a wonderful knife. It's a liner lock, and just really do like this one a lot. I carry it probably one day a week at least, sometimes a little less, but definitely in my permanent rotation. I love this one. Next up, so the next knife is something that I carry a lot, and I know it's kind of crazy to say, but because it's so huge, but I carry the Spyderco Shaman as a backup knife probably 2 days a week at least. This is one I cut down the nubby there that used to get your finger when you were closing it with the compression lock. It would hit your finger and knock it out of the way, and it was just such an annoyance. So I did grind that down, and I like it much, much better. I got that idea from Kenny over at In the Pocket, another channel that I forgot to mention. And I don't know if you guys know this, most of you probably do if you have a Shaman. You can front flip the Shaman with just a little, you know, it's hard to do it if you're sitting still unless you got rough hands. Sometimes you got to give it a little movement, but my hands are super rough, so most of the time I can catch it with my thumb until I say I can, and then I can't. But fun knife, super fidgety, heavy duty, overbuilt, beast of a knife. This one is definitely in the rotation frequently, and for good reason, because my job calls for tough cutting utensils, and this is definitely one of those. All right, next up is one that I carry almost as frequently, but I try not to damage as much, and that is the Slysz Bowie. I love this knife. You can see it's got some snail trails going on where I keep it in my same pocket as my wallet, and my metal clip on my wallet gets it right there. This one's probably not going anywhere unless somebody made me an obscene offer. I really like this knife a lot. I'm not going to go into great detail. Anyone who's watching this channel knows about the Slysz Bowie. This thing is fantastic. It's discontinued. CTS XHP. It's just a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful knife. I love this thing. So yeah, Spyderco Slysz Bowie. The next on my list, and the only reason it's not higher on the list is because I haven't had it very long, and that is a gift from my homeboy Scott Big Bore Williams, Big Bore Knife and Gear, the Microtech Stitch. This one's got the apocalyptic finish on it, CPM 3V. It fires like a freaking rocket. I mean, this thing is so awesome. The backspacer is this heavy, heavy jimped. I think it's titanium. Just wonderful knife. I freaking love the blade shape on this thing. Anytime I break this knife out, I get comments on it. It takes a freaking screaming mean edge. And Scott is a sneaky dude, and anytime I've ever mentioned to him that, oh man, I've been thinking about getting one of those, it shows up at my house. And this was one of those occasions where I had mentioned to him, but before I really learned, I'm gonna drop every knife tonight, before I really learned how he did things, I had mentioned to him that I had been wanting to get a Stitch for so long and that I loved it. And then boom, here's my Stitch showing up at the house, and just a freaking awesome friend, man. But anyway, Microtech Stitch, love this freaking knife. It would probably be number 2 or 3 on my most carrieds had I had it longer, but as it stands, it's number 6 just because of the time frame. I've only had it about, I think, 2 months maybe, and I carry it quite a bit. Thank you, Mr. Big Bore. All right, next up is my Kizer Nomad. Love this knife. It is definitely an every week knife for me. I did like a crazy drunk night anodization flame anno thing on the clip, but love this knife. Bought it from Dirk Pinkerton, the designer, at Blade Show 2019. It was my first kind of off the cuff, just because I like the way it looked, knife purchase without really doing research, and I'm so happy with this thing. Steve and Vinny Nero both said the same thing. They got to handle it. Corey Glasser said the same thing. Everyone that's handled this knife is like, wow, can't believe you got such a steal on this knife. I think I paid $150, and I would put this knife up against $300 and $400 knives all day with the fit and finish, the materials, and just the execution of it. It is fantastic, and that's the Kizer Nomad. It's a big one, and no matter what grip you want to hold it in, it just feels fantastic. I really do like it a lot. So Kizer Nomad. All right, up next, the next most carried knife, and there again, if I had had this knife longer, I think it would even be maybe, you know, 1 or 2 on the list, because I absolutely love it. This is the Spyderco PM2 in Maximate. I've also got a PM2 in M390, the bento box shot with the black DLC coating on the blade, and just a good all-around knife, great work knife. I threw a deep carry clip on there, and I love Maximate. I can get it hair whittling sharp, and I mean, it just takes such a great edge if you spend a little bit of time with it, and it just holds an edge for days and days and days. So Spyderco PM2 Maximate. All right, the next one up is this one right here. This is the, well, it's mass drop, but now it's actually just called drop, and this is the Thresher. This was a gift from Mr. Ryan Leitner, Spirited Whiskey, a really, really good friend of mine. He gifted me this knife before we even really became friends. It was another one of those things where it's just a really good-hearted guy in the community, and they hear you say, oh man, I love those, and then boom, it shows up at your house. This is one that belonged to him. He sent it over to EDC Michigan on Instagram, and they did all the customizations to it. The oversized thumb stud, the anodizations, the acid and stonewash on the blade, crazy edge that has held up forever. All I have to do is strop it. But yeah, so my buddy Ryan gifted me this one, and I love this freaking knife. It is carried a lot. Okay, next up, and again, that was the drop Thresher, mass drop Thresher. These two right here are my most carried knives of 2019. This right here, this knife is carried at, I'd say, 2 to 3 days a week. I carry it every single moment that I'm at home. This knife is in my pocket. When I go out places, when I'm working in the yard, when I'm doing anything, this knife is in my pocket, along with this one on the left side. This is my Microtech Ultratech Spartan, LMAX steel, Gladius blade, carbon fiber. It's a sprint run. I love this knife. This was also a gift from my buddy Scott Big Bore Williams, Big Bore Knife and Gear. This is, man, I freaking am in love with this knife. It takes a mean edge. And if any of you know about the double-sided Gladius blades like this, I mean, they're super thick, so it is kind of difficult to get them to take a good mean edge, but this one definitely does. I love the blade shape, I love the action, I love the carbon fiber. Everything about this knife makes me happy. And it makes me even happier that it was a gift from a very good friend. So this knife is, it's in my pocket all the time. When I come home in the evenings and I clean my pockets out, no matter what I'm carrying, these two go back in. And whether it's one of them or both of them, it's always one of these two. This one was my very first, what I would consider like a high-end knife. I had owned Spyderco Tenacious and Gerber knives and CRKTs and you know, things of that nature, but I had never owned like a you know, a $100 or more knife. Everything I had ever bought was, you know, 20, 30 bucks. If I spent 50 bucks on a knife, I was like, oh my God, this is insane. My Kershaw leak, I think, was like $50 when I bought it. And I thought it was, you know, a freaking Benchmade wrapped in gold or something. But this was a gift from Bama Knife Wife. This was the knife that got me into higher end knives. I knew about higher end knives. I wasn't really insanely interested, but I had my eyes on them. This is one of the ones that I had really liked. Held it at Mark's Outdoors in Birmingham, Alabama, and fell in love with it. Bama Knife Wife ordered it for me, and she is the reason that all of this has taken place, pretty much. Everything that followed this was, you know, me falling in love with the knife world, and learning about the knife community, and making friends, and purchases and trades, and my YouTube channel, my Instagram, Bama Knife Guy in general, all came from this Spyderco Manix 2. And so I owe it all to Bama Knife Wife. She has supported me throughout, as you can tell, by purchasing me awesome things like this for Christmas. She knows that this is a passion and a hobby that I very much enjoy. She loves the community just as much as I do. And but yeah, so it all began with that Spyderco Manix 2 right there, and so I repay her and this knife by carrying it as much as I possibly can, and I love it. So that's pretty much it, guys and gals. That is my most carried knives of 2019. I hope you enjoyed that. I know it was a long-winded video, but I tend to switch knives a lot. Don't forget, go check out my giveaway on Instagram. We're giving away a ton of knives, a ton of gear, flashlights, you know, lanyards, Shadowborn, JD Shadowborn Hanks threw in like 5 or 6 amazing Hanks, some of his new designs, and all of it's up for grabs. So definitely go over to my Instagram. All you got to do is go to the giveaway post. It's a giant, you know, picture of a giant pile of gear, and click on it and comment, I'm in. That's all you got to do to get in. So that is it. I love you guys and gals. I'm out.